had to find the most positive, optimistic, brightest person in the world. And then American Idol found him for me.
Hey there, it's Kristen, and today we are chatting with the cast and creatives of Netflix's Arlo The Alligator Boy. Arlo The Alligator Boy is such a hopeful story about a diverse friendship and finding acceptance. What inspired this film and the subsequent TV show that's coming out?
Really, the character of Arlo was something I had created almost more than 10 years ago. And with the concept always being to try to create the most optimistic, positive, pure-hearted character that I could ever create. Obviously, Michael lended a huge hand once he got involved. That really then it worked. But that was always the initial idea. Let's create the most positive character with the brightest optimism, and then see how he stacks up when he goes out into the world. And then obviously the friendship and the relationships around him, and how he kind of helps people and how they help him, and through his optimism find each other, and especially with that core relationship of Birdie and Arlo.
Now, why a musical?
I grew up playing music, so I've always been in love with music. I've played in bands my whole life, and had actually kind of put music to rest for about 10 years when I was really focused on animation. And but I've always in my heart has just been burning to do more music. And so when I got the opportunity to not only make it a musical, but then co-write the songs with Alex Gringas, who's amazing, it just was a total dream come true. It really, really lit me up.
Mary, how did you get involved? This is one of your first acting roles. Why an animated project?
Oh, I just felt like such a natural fit. And I've been given a lot of scripts over the years, and nothing has felt like the right fit. And I think often when you're sort of typecast as, I'm a fat girl, and I am excited to play fat girl roles, but so often you're confronted with the reality that the rest of the world isn't on board with fat people being, not just a comedic relief, that there's depth to different identities. And when I read the script for this, I got so excited that there wasn't a single fat joke. There was so much depth to Birdie, and just this complex arc that she has, and this deep friendship. And there was just nothing about her size. And even though she's 13 feet tall, so that's what really excited me about it.
That's amazing. I definitely loved that about this film as well. And of course, the friendship between Arlo and Birdie was just so pure and beautiful. And, going to you, Michael, I mean, you started out on American Idol. I'd love to hear how you went from a reality show now to an animated show and film. That must be so exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. I think it was probably one of the most unexpected things that ever happened in my life. Because, I got finished with the show, and a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I'm getting this email from a producer that worked on the show. And it's people from DreamWorks want to get in touch with you. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? But, I did it. And I'm so glad. It was one of the best choices I've ever made in my life, was to be a part of this. The transition was smooth, but it's almost like I didn't have a choice. Because opportunity came knocking thanks to Mr. Ryan Crego. And yes. I'm just so grateful, super grateful.
Ryan, what was it about Michael that you were I need him to voice this character that I've been kind of, mulling over for the last 10 years?
Well, it's hard to find somebody who's that really is that person, and there are a lot of actors out there in the world who can put on voices and do characters. But I really felt for both of these characters, and for most of the characters in the film, that it was going to be the best if we could get authenticity, if we could get characters who were really authentically that. And so I had to find the most positive, optimistic, brightest person in the world. And then American Idol found him for me. But I saw Michael's audition on Idol, and before he even opened his mouth to sing, I was just that's the character. And then when he started singing and started doing those runs, I was like, okay, find him. Someone find him. Let's get him. So we did.
That's incredible. I love that, because you never know what opportunities can come from something like that. There's such great music in this. I'm also a big musical nerd, so I'd love to hear from you guys. Did you have any favorite musical numbers?
I love Beyond These Walls, simply because I loved recording that. oh my God, there's like an emotion there that I believe I captured it. So, and I was just in love with the song from the first time I heard it. Like I remember showing my mom, like, and walking around. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to sing this. This is crazy. Follow Me Home is another one that I just adore. I adore Mary's voice on it. And I think our performance together is just like immaculate. And I think, what's the last one? Beautiful Together. I absolutely love as well. And also, I'm trying not to name them all. The what's the one where I'm like in the middle of the movie?
Wash the Hurt Away.
Wash the Hurt Away. It's gonna be, yeah.
I know basically all of the songs.
I know, man. I can't. I tried. So the whole soundtrack.
My favorite, honestly, is You Gotta Change Yourself. That song is, I just love how immediately you're like, oh, this is such a fun song. And then you're like, oh crap, like he's being mean. But also the dancing and the animation, I think is so cool. I just don't think I've ever seen like dance numbers like that before. And like, I think that's one of my favorite parts of the movie is like seeing all the characters dance, and I want to learn all the dances.
That was really hard to do because that's a really difficult scene for Arlo. It could be really dark. And so I had written different versions of it that always felt so harsh. And then it was like, when we came up with Better Life and that melody and that energy, I was like, oh, this is this is tricky because it's kind of mean, but it's also like the audience is like, yeah. And Arlo is like, yeah, this is cool. And then you start listening to the words and you're like, I don't know if I feel about like that. So it's a tricky little moment, but I think it worked out.
Totally. And when it goes to minor juxtaposed with Beyond These Walls, it's just so, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys killed this. I'm so excited to see where the story continues now in the show. If you like this one, you can check out more of my interviews right over here, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.